Hello and a warm welcome to Robin's TV Extra Time as we cover Bristol City's trip up to Lancashire to face a Preston North End side unbeaten in their last two. And it was a pretty up and down encounter. Our heart rates have just about returned to normality after some late chances for Bristol City. Joining me to look back at the action in the studio are Lewis Carey and Leroy Rosenior. Gentlemen, thank you for rejoining me. Lewis, you were on commentary. Gut-wrenching at the end there that we couldn't quite get all 3 points.
Yeah, very much so. It was two incredible chances at the end of the game, wasn't it, for Anis. However, the overall game, I thought City were by far the better football team. Started the game well, played really well in the first half, created a really good chance for Twine, dealt with long balls, direct balls really well, counter-pressed and pressed well to close like from all sides to win the ball and then break away. And then what you were expecting second half was the same. Football never is like that. And they had to find a way of getting a result. And within the sort of real scrappy messiness of the second half, I actually thought they had the two best chances of the game with Anis.
Yeah, painful in the end. And Leroy, let's look at the sort of tail of the tape in terms of the statistics from the game. It was difficult for us both to watch from the studio in the end, but Bristol City, as Lewis has alluded to, the more dominant side.
Yeah, and the stats show that out, bear that out. Possession 53%, expected goals. I mean, I can't remember a chance that Preston created 2.17 in terms of expected goals, but just look at that in terms of duels won. I think that was the key to them getting on top and be able to play their football 40-43. We know that Preston are an aggressive side, all Paul Higginbottom sides are aggressive, but City stood up to that in the first 10 minutes of both halves and then played their football. That's when they got the opportunities. As Lewis said in commentary, did get a little scrappy at times, but that's the key to them kind of dominating the game. They stood up against the aggressiveness as Preston North End. And you know what? I think Preston should have had a lot more players, but yeah, they were just diving into tackles in the end in desperation. And that's the key to going to places like Preston, and I thought they did that well. And
it will frustrate, arguably, Bristol City fans, the volume of shots, but that is something we've seen this season under Gerhard Struber, is the amount of chances Bristol City are having. Admittedly, they're not being clinical enough, but to see that volume of shots again is encouraging.
Very much so. You know, if you don't get yourself into the positions, whether it's through slip passes, good football, changing the sides of the pitch and creating opportunities, or whether it's from free kicks, whatever it's from, to get that volume of shots between 17, I think, in the whole game there was like 29 or something crazy like that. So to be creating those type of opportunities is really, really pleasing. I'd even say from watching the game, I think the pleasing thing for me is I could tell you what Bristol City are. You know, I could tell you how they counter press, or I could tell you how they press and so on, or try and find their tens and change the ball to the wing backs, get balls into the box. You could tell what a Bristol City team is. Preston, all we'd say is they were playing for random actions and hoping something would happen. So that would be the pleasing thing, and a point away from home and a clean sheet away from home.
Yeah, clear identity, and part of that is the role of the wing backs. We picked them out at half time during our coverage. Ross McCrory, Mark Sykes. Ross in the end absolutely out on his feet, but put in a big shift today.
It's a massive shift. They're absolutely brilliant down the left-hand side, as did Sykes down the right. And they were so important in the first half. You know, this time he gets on his right foot. This is the positive of being on a right footer and tries to find Sykes on the far post. Again here, Sykes on the ball here, finds a space where Ross is on the opposite side of the pitch. This is unfortunate, he isn't left-footed there, because if he is a natural left-footed, then he can go and just hit that on the half volley. But he tries to find Anis Mehmeti on that inside area. But they just ran Preston into the ground. Preston's right wing-back had to go off in the end injured. The small on this side wanted to kick Sykes most of the time because he couldn't get hold of him. And they tried absolutely everything. And their timing in getting into those areas was really good. Again, he gets forward, gets into the box. And what I will say about City's wing-backs, Lewis, how often did you see Preston's wing-backs doing that against them? Not too often. Their timing and their work rate, their athleticism was really important in terms of getting forward into those positions.
Yeah, and it was obviously a game plan today, because Sykes was, in general, narrow. You see him there, he's really, really narrow. He's running that inside channel in behind a lot and playing inside and crossing the ball from these sort of areas, where McCrory was the other side. He was more of a wing-back, you know, so it'd be 1v1 situations and space to run into. But I was impressed with both today, but they played it really different roles. So again, Sykes, look, he's infield. And then Twine's the one who comes wide, and Zach Viner's then the one who pushes on. And you could just see City were trying to get tens on the ball, running behind, and move the opposition about, and the Preston lads didn't want to step out of their zones.
Yeah, the reason why Sykes is more inside, because you've got a natural player in terms of Zach Viner who can go outside and play in that position. So he's more inside. And I think Ross starts wider because Rob is going to kind of support more from behind. But then I saw Rob getting forward into those areas as well, and yeah, Ross. That's why they get into the box, because they have the confidence that those two outside centre halves are going to fill the spaces in behind, and it's so important. If you go and get in the box, you leave that space, it's got to be filled. And sometimes Rob Dickie is almost in a one-on-one situation at the back, but the danger is in front. You stop it at source. Whereas Preston, they're thinking, oh, we'll keep the numbers back in there, and we'll be safe. And then City just dropped into those holes in the first half, got the ball, got turned and ran out.
And 3 of those clips as well were actually the 2 of them finding each other. So it's not. I mean, is that kind of unusual? I mean, they're the players that are arguably the 2 furthest apart on the pitch, but they seem to have a good relationship between the 2 of them, let alone with the players inside of them.
No, look, the opposite wing back, now has got to get in the box, because you've got the 3 back. The 3, you've got obviously Rob Atkinson and Zach, I mentioned. They're the ones who are given the security. I mean, the old days, one full-back goals, the other one stays. But now you've got to have the legs, and that running power, they're making big 50, 30, 40-yard runs to get in the box. And I think that's what Gerhardt demands, that they have got to do that. I mean, you saw at the end there, Ross was having crap, and Gerhardt said, are you okay? Are you okay? Because he knows that one opportunity comes, Ross is going to get on the end of it. Yeah. And so really important to the system.
It's very rarely as well is it that 6s make the box.
No.
So you're going to have to get a 3+1 or 4+1, or the +1, I mean like the one on the edge. So if you're going to try and load it with 3 or 4, you've got the 9, you've got maybe 2 10s. Well, it has to be the ball away wing back who's making up the numbers.
Yeah. The back 3, of course, we spoke about before the game. Conceded 3 against Oxford United, no escaping that, albeit from some quality goals and set pieces. But they really stepped up today, which actually resulted in Viner actually having to be pushed into midfield anyway. But on the whole, really impressive defensive.
I mean, the first half was about the wing back, so I thought the second half was about the outside centre halves.
Right.
But especially Zach Viner on the right hand side. I'm just going to play this clip here. See when he gets the ball, he drops into that space. Just stop it here for me, Bailey. Let's just stop it here. Just look at the numbers in the box.
Again, 2 wing backs in there.
And the 2. And I was going to highlight the outside centre halves. That's Rob Atkinson there. And that's Zach Viner there. Those are your 2 defensive. And as Lewis said, giving security, your 2 holding 6s in that space. But that's what Zach did, because Ross got into those areas, and if you play it on, and this I think Anis and Mehdi got on the end of it, but they actually outnumber Preston in that far post area. But it was that, because they pushed the wing backs forward and said, OK, Rob, you and Zach have got to take this point. I'm going to stop it here. Look at the shape of the City team. Again, look at... That's what I'm just going to show, make a better job of that. Just want to show Rob Atkinson here in this area, and that's Zach in that area there. And Rob Dickie all on his own in that area, because they wanted to push people forward, and he drove into that space really well. And if you play it on, and what that did was just push Preston back and allow City to get so many numbers in the box, they couldn't quite find that final pass sack. And what I wanted to emphasise now is what it does. If you stop it now, it's a real gamble for City, because when that happens, that big space, if Preston were better, they could have exploited that. But they weren't good enough to exploit that. But that's the gamble that Gerhardt wants to take by pushing those men forward. And he knows it's going to happen at times, and they've got to retreat. And you saw this, I think this Zach just getting back in there, and they managed to deal with that if you play it on. At times, they're going to be outnumbered, but it didn't happen too often. And in the end, they get back into a decent shape, and they get the numbers back and deal with it's a poor Preston attack. But that's the gamble. He knows that's going to happen on occasions, and we've got to be aware of that. But if you want forward-facing football, if you want Bristol City to get on the front foot, this is going to happen. You see here, Lewis, and just stop it here. He's been given licence to do that. And what was really impressive was this pass. We were all expecting him to play into feet, but you can see Zach is pointing to where he wants it, and that is so much better. There's so much more penetration when you put it between players, you put it in front of them. And if we play it on slowly, just play it on slowly, Brad. And if you could stop it just before Zach crosses it, just keep going, just keep going. Stop it here. He's now got his head down, but he's seen, just before that moment, he's seen the pass, but the defender's read it. You can see the body shape of the defender. He's just read it. I think he's actually made the right decision, Lewis. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I listen, the first one is it Twine? No, Reece, sorry, makes the run to the near first post, right? Brilliant. Twine does the
back post.
Back post. You've got Sykes in there causing confusion and chaos. And then McCrory, just before then, is run in towards a penalty spot and then back out for the pullback is excellent. And then you've got the edge of the box. You're filling all areas. It's just, at some point, one of the defenders is going to try and make take a gamble. And he's gambled and he's picked it up really well. But then, like we said, the lad who picked it up, Devine, he's a really intelligent, clever footballer anyway.
You've got three centre-halves there that are so good on the ball as well. Just generally, in terms of their passing ability, you mentioned that crossfield pass I think Viner hit at one point. It was perfect, wasn't it?
It's so important to the attacking play, and Lewis is a ball-playing centre-half. He could defend, but you've got to be able to keep the ball. You've got to take care of the ball, and you've got to be able to get forward as well and be athletic. I think that's the difference. You saw it today. I think it was stark. Comparing City's back line to Preston's back line. I think they're dominant in the air, but Rob Axon comes in at the side, he looks secure. It doesn't mean in terms of set pieces, but on the ball, happy to play around the halfway line. Whereas when Preston lost possession, they went, we're going to drop off. And if City to continue playing that way, that back three is going to be really important to that.
And there's a couple of things in the whole game. We got exploited at times on the transition, the same with Oxford at times. But it's a sprint mentality, isn't it? That's why the boys are out on their feet at the end. So at times we could be commentating, why is the first half not as good as the second half not as good as the first half? The boys' legs are starting to tire, starting to drain. The two wing backs, the outside centre backs. So the sprint mentality is incredible. It's just at times the manager is going to want to make changes because boys are going to blow up playing this way.
And the shot count was in the high teens, but there was two sort of glaring opportunities which fell to Anis Mehmeti. I think he'll be replaying that in his sleep tonight over and over again. There were big opportunities. The first was that one-on-one opportunity.
Yeah, sometimes you have an explainer as to why players miss, and I can say, look, it's because of this. Technically, he did this or he did that, but he did everything right. His first touch is good, gets his head up, the ball's in absolutely the right place. And one thing I think he does, he wants to keep it on the deck and slide it into the corner. You look at it from this angle, the keeper does spread it out. All he has to do is just lift that over the keeper's legs. And I always say, sometimes players just go through the keeper. Just go through the keeper. Don't go for the corners because you'll miss. You go for the corner, you miss. You go through the keeper, you might miskick it in the corner. And that's the only explanation I can give. This one, you think, okay, stick in the net now. Okay, stick in the net now. He lifts it. There's a previous one, he keeps on the ground, and there's this one, he doesn't have to lift, and the keeper makes it. By the way, it is a great save. It's an unbelievable save. I don't think he even sees it. But why he lifts it, I don't know. Why not just slide it like he did the first one? You can only ask Anis afterwards. For me, it didn't make sense. Look, but it's an unbelievable save.
But both are, like we were saying on commentary or even before we started this show, isn't it? What do you say? Like, you can't pull Anis apart. And it is, listen, he finds a pocket of space on the first one, has a touch, centre-back jumps out, plays a little wall pass or it gets given away. He runs into the space really, really well. I think he does everything right. I think he's just through the legs because the goalkeeper spreads himself brilliantly. So that's the space. In the second one, it's just a pass, isn't it? And the save's incredible, though.
The second one, 9 times out of 10, the keeper don't make the save. Yeah. Because it's just that good a save.
Yeah.
But on the back of the first opportunity, and this will be how have I not got two today? How have I not?
See the agony of the City fans sort of popping up behind the goal, ready for the net to bulge. I think the last thing to mention, Jason Knight, but I think it was largely down to fatigue. First missed minutes for quite some time, Lewis. For him, he's so consistent playing 90 minutes, Jason Knight.
Yeah, he's a manager and a coaching staff's dream, as in, he's so reliable, he's so robust. So when I use the word robust, I'm hoping it is just fatigue, like we said, because of the sprint mentality and the amount of times you have to recover in the game and run forward. However, if it's an injury, then I think, it'd be a big scare for the club.
Big blow.
Big blow.
And that's the reliance on this starting 11. The subs came so late for City today, didn't they?
And he shuffled it back again. We saw Zach Viner going into midfield and doing a really good job as well. And I think that's what he's going to ask him. It's not only asking to put everything in, and you said about the split mentality, but I think it's about going and playing in a different position mentality as well. Every player, when he's asked to go and do something, they go and do it to the best of their ability. I think there's absolutely no doubt about it. Sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. But Zach, yeah, I'll go and do that, and he did a great job in there. And I think at the moment, he's shuffling the pack, and he's trying to, you know, that he knows what his starting 11 is, and he's looking for an impact from the bench. You know, you can see that you're trying to get him on the pitch, but you know, that bench, they've got to start making an impact and saying, and just, you know, when I was on the bench, I'd be saying, put me on, get me on, you know, I'd be running up and down the line saying, get me on. You know, someone, you know, Reece going off after 82 minutes, you know, Ross with cramp still playing on. That's the concern, because when you get into that area in terms of the load, that's when you pick up injuries, and they've got to be managed.
Yeah. Nonetheless, a point on the road for Bristol City and a clean sheet, and historically a difficult place to go, Deepdale, for the club. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your insights as ever. That is it from us on Robins TV Extra Time. We hope you enjoyed our coverage across the weekend. Lots of differing results across the Championship this weekend, so it hasn't dented Bristol City's hopes too much. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.